Hey guys, it's Mystery Wheel Gunner. Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. Happy 44 Magnum Day. Well, unofficially 44 Magnum Day. It's just something I just kind of made up, but it would seem a bit appropriate. April 30, 430. So what does that have to do with the 44 Magnum? Well, we got to go back in history a little bit for this little made-up holiday. The very first 44 Magnum was made by Smith & Wesson way back in December 1955 and unveiled to the public on January 1956. This first ever 44 Magnum revolver had the factory designation of NT430. What does that stand for? N stands for the frame size. Smith & Wesson likes to use letters for their frame sizes. This very first 44 Magnum revolver was made on the large frame, which is the N frame. T stands for target. I don't know if they meant it had target stocks, target trigger, target hammer, or maybe all three. Anyway, and 430 stood for the bore size. That's right. A 44 Magnum revolver has a nominal bore diameter of .430. So I guess actually it's a 43 Magnum. So why is it called the 44 Magnum if the actual bore diameter is .430? Well, the 44 Magnum was derived from the 44 Special, which has the same diameter. So why not the 43 Special going to the 43 Magnum? I'm going to guess that it was like a marketing decision, because let's face it, 43 Magnum and 43 Special doesn't sound quite the same or quite as cool as 44 Magnum and 44 Special. And this strange naming of this model, NT430, has led to a little bit of confusion and a little bit of urban legend. The urban legend is that somebody from Ruger found some shell casings where some Smith & Wesson technicians were, I guess, test shooting NT430, and they picked up the shells, brought it to Bill Ruger, and somehow Bill Ruger reverse engineered everything from just that one shell and was able to produce Ruger's 44 Magnum revolver before Smith & Wesson could. It is just urban legend. Sorry, Ruger people, that's simply not true. Bill Ruger was a very smart guy, but there's only so much you can derive from a shell, okay? You can derive primer size, maybe, but you can't really derive bullet seating depth, and you especially cannot derive chamber pressure. All right, there's just so many things you cannot get from just the spent shell. So anyway, not to disparage Ruger, because if we're going to be honest, Ruger did produce their 44 Magnum relatively quickly. The correct order of events is made by Smith & Wesson, NT430, the very first one in December 1955, unveiled to the public January 1956. A company called Great Western brought out their 44 Magnum revolver in the summer of 1956, and then Ruger with theirs in November 1956. So, I mean, still a pretty good job by Ruger to come out with their competing revolver in a relatively short period of time. But to reiterate, no, Ruger did not beat Smith & Wesson to market. I think where the confusion lies is that NT430 didn't last long, technically speaking. It was only in production for 1 year. In 1957 came Model 29, probably the world's most famous 44 Magnum revolver, because it was a Model 29 used by Inspector Callahan in the Dirty Harry movies. So what's the big difference between NT430 and Model 29? Basically just the name. That's right, Model 29 is NT430, just with a name change. But because nobody remembers NT430, and thanks to Dirty Harry, everybody, well, most everybody knows about Model 29. And since Model 29 came out in 1957, I think that's where the urban legend started. you know, because Ruger came out with theirs in November 1956. Model 29 technically did not exist until 1957. So the Ruger fanboys can say, aha, Ruger beat Model 29 to the market. Yes, that's true. But Model NT430 beat everyone to market. But anyway, enough of the history lesson here. We're here to celebrate 44 Magnums on 4/30, the unofficial 44 Magnum Day, as by my decree, which is, you know, legit, right? I'm just saying, some guy from the internet with a low subscriber count, of course, my voice has power, right? Yes, in my mind at least. Anyway, the success of Model 29 and NT430, well, actually the success of Model 29 more than NT430, has led to the rise of the 44 Magnum going into mainstream. And of course, Dirty Harry helped quite a bit. In other words, I guess I'm trying to say that every 44 Magnum revolver in production today owes its success to Model NT430 / Model 29. So we're just going to celebrate some 44 Magnum revolvers today. I've got two of them here on the table, and I'm going to take two of these, or these two, to the range. First up, I guess it would be appropriate to bring a Smith & Wesson, right? Now, this is not an NT430, and it is not Model 29, but it is Model 629, a Performance Center edition. We are empty. And this is the 44 Magnum Hunter. And I really like the styling of this gun because, well, you know, it's from the Performance Center. They're going to do their own thing. And I know that's going to be polarizing to some people. Some of their designs are a little too radical for some people, and that's understandable. But, you know, they wouldn't be the Performance Center if they didn't try to push things. But I like the way they went with this one, the 44 Magnum Hunter. It is its own thing, but it has, I mean, it really shows its DNA of the Model 29. I mean, you can pretty much tell, yes, Model 29, Model NT430, oh yeah, that's an ancestor, and this is the descendant. It's got the styling of the long barrel Model 29, you know, the one with the 8 3/8 inch barrel. It's got the short lug. It's stylized, but that is a short lug. You know, it's just the shroud. It doesn't extend all the way out. So it shares those sleek lines of NT4, sorry, can't speak. It shares those sleek lines of NT430 and Model 29, and again, especially the long barrel. And as I said before, every 44 Magnum revolver in production today owes its existence to NT430 / Model 29. So yeah, without that early success from Smith & Wesson, things like the Colt Anaconda more than likely would never exist. And we've got a really nice representative here of the Anaconda. I love the long barrels. This has the 8-inch barrel. And this is the newer one. This is the 2021 Anaconda. So it's actually built off of the design of the 2020 Python. So this is actually a big upgrade from the 1990 Anaconda. Not trying to disparage the older Anaconda, but if we're going to be honest, okay, the 1990 Anaconda is not exactly the smoothest revolver you'll ever find. I believe that one was based actually off of, I think, the Trooper internals. Not to say that the Trooper is a bad gun, but let's face it, it's not a Python. But anyway, long story short, I've got two high-quality 44 Magnum revolvers. I'm just going to go to the range and just enjoy them here on unofficial 44 Magnum Day, April 30. Oh, and just to spice things up just a little bit, I have this piece of AR-500 steel with a big crack in it. Can the Smith & Wesson 44 Magnum Hunter and the Colt Anaconda finish this thing off? Let's find out. And it is a beautiful day to be out at the range. The sun is out, the temperature is mild, and here is the target I'll be trying to finish off today. Looks like someone else had a similar idea with their piece of steel. There's the rest of it right over there. Anyway, all right. Let's get to work. Okay, after 54 rounds of 44 Magnum, I don't see the AR-500 steel as being too much worse for wear than when I began, but that's to be expected. Of course, it is compromised, but it's still AR-500, and it didn't get this way overnight. It took quite a few years of beating on this piece of steel for the crack to form and grow. But anyway, I'll keep working on this throughout the spring and summer, and we'll see when it finally gives up the ghost. Alrighty, thanks for watching, and hey, hopefully you enjoyed your unofficial 44 Magnum celebration day.